So I have two questions for you this afternoon. And being a teacher, when I used to work, I like a bit of interaction. So at the end of it, hopefully, if I've done my job correctly, you'll have some answers to these questions I'm going to share with you. Okay? Don't worry if you don't have any answers to the questions as well. That's also okay. So the first question we think about is, what does 1% of your day look like? Now, please don't look into the magazine you've got. If you know the answer, don't shout it out because it will just ruin the whole talk. But try and think in your mind what a number looks like for 1% of your day. For your 24 hours in a day, what does 1% of your day look like? And the second part to this question is, now you know what you have in your mind what that time looks like. What do you actually do that time? So maybe by the end of this conversation, this discussion, you might have a better idea of what you might do with that time. The second question, the first one had two parts. This is a complete separate question. What is your definition of success? Now, again, you may not know the answer. You may be able to say, yeah, Ross, I know straight away what my definition of success is. Don't worry if you've never asked yourself this question. I only asked myself this question about 5 years ago, okay? And the great thing about this is it'll change, it'll deviate, stuff gets in the way, but that's just kind of life. So hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to answer these questions. If you're still struggling, come and find me after. I'll maybe explain a little bit better. So, who am I, and why is this remotely important to the conversation we're having right now? So, like it was explained earlier, husband, father, business owner. I currently work now as a performance consultant, and basically I help people in their given environment or something that's really close to them. I help them be better in that area. I help them maximize their potential. So whether it's in the office, whether it's performing on the sports field, whether it's just a better conversation with their wife or their kids, I help them do that. But before I did all this, I spent 10 years as a teacher. So 10 years working on a great spectrum of education. I've worked in universities, I've taught special needs, private schools, and this allowed me to gather sort of a sense of how people work, how I work, and how you're never quite ready for what life's going to throw you. So alongside all of this, you'll get the idea I was quite busy. I trained and raced in 3 world championships for triathlon. So I got to travel around the world. I was very lucky, I got to travel around the world and race at 3 world championships for my age category, which was fantastic. I also trained as a Royal Marine Commando. Now, the thing that kind of adds to all of this, there was a point in time where I did all of this at the same time. So I was very busy. Okay, this again kind of ties into making the use of your time. So I want to take you back to here. So by the way, success for me is very different now to what it looks like here. So this is me sliding down what at the time was called the death slide. They've since then had to change the name. Somebody died. Okay, but this is part of the. This is the first part of the endurance course of the 4 commando tests you do when you go down to CTC at Lympstone. So I was preparing for my 2 weeks. I've been training with the reserves for 18 months, and it was coming together with 2 weeks down at Lympstone, 1 week in the field, and 1 week on camp. The week in the field was Dartmoor, January. What's the worst that could happen? The weather's going to be great, you know, the training staff are going to be really nice, you're not going to be quiet with anything. Another 2 weeks, I was more concerned about the first week, but I defined what success looked like for me, okay? I was going to go down there, I was going to complete my 2 weeks, and by the end of it, I was going to get my green lid. First week, out there, totally not prepared for it. In my mind, that was going to be the more difficult bit. The second week was the physical test. Fit, yeah, I've got my head around this, I'm okay. I got into Lympstone and I decided to flip the script. So the first week in the field went brilliantly smooth, fantastic, couldn't believe it. And all of a sudden I was like, this definition of success for me looks fantastic, I've got it in the bag, it's okay. Then it came to week 2. And week 2 you have these 4 commando tests. And the first one you do is a 9-mile speed march. You do it as a body of men, you complete that, no problems at all. Day 2, you have what's called the endurance course. And basically, they take you out onto Woodbury Common, you get thrashed through some tunnels. There used to be an advert on TV where you saw a guy getting stuck in the water. That's the sheep dip, you have to do that. And then you run back into camp, and then you knock down the targets and you tick off your another test. So we go out and you're measured on how fast they think you're going to go around the course. And I was fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to be in the first group. Okay, so first group set off, there's 3 blokes, we go around, we do the sheep dip, like on the advert, we go through. And then we carry on for the next, 60 minutes through the tunnels, back to camp, do the shoot, knock the targets down. I turned to the 2 lads and said, lads, we've ticked off another test here. Okay? Whilst we're sitting there, the commanding officer came over and he said, lads, we've got a problem. I said, okay, so what's up? He goes, excuse my French. He says, you fucked up. I was like, with respect, sir, what do you mean? He's like, you've gone the wrong way. I said, sir, we followed a train rank the whole way round. We've not gone the wrong way. We followed somebody. He said, if that's the case, that's fine. You have gone the wrong way. There's just a miscommunication. So he goes away, makes a phone call. Half an hour passes. The guys will come back on camp. And I can see this officer having a conversation with this train rank who we were following. And he's gesturing over the car. Well, you did this and they must have followed you. And this guy's going, no, I didn't do that. He's going, well, you must have done this and then they must have followed you that way. He's like, no, they didn't do that. I just turned to the lads, like, lads, we're getting screwed here. So the guy comes over and said, lads, the train rank that you followed said that at that point in on the course, you managed to get in front of him. And actually, he spent the next 10 minutes chasing after you, telling you to stop and slow down. I said, sir, we need 72 minutes to get around that course. We came in at 62 minutes. You could have stopped us, we could have gone back and done it, and we'd have still got in under the time. He said, it doesn't matter, you've got to repeat the test. I was like, okay. So I wasn't ready for that. So I took myself away with the guys and said, lads, we need to get our heads around this because we're going to have to do it again tomorrow. Do what you need to do. So I took myself away. I just spent some time myself readjusting what success looked like for me. The goal was the same. It was green lit Friday. I was getting it. Okay? The steps to get there were going to change. And that's just how life is. So anyway, the next day, I don't just have one test to do now. I have to have 2 tests. One in the morning, and I have to repeat the endurance course in the afternoon. And just to add to this, the morning one was this one. And this is part of the Tarzan Assault course. And first thing in the morning, frost, snow, Livingston, January. This is what happens. So again, timed increments. I lead off, I'm out, and I get to the monkey bars. And I fall off the monkey bars, and I break through the ice up to my armpits in frozen water. And I'm like, this has not gone very well. Get back out, go again, fall off in the water. To this point, where the train rank just goes, get out and carry on. Because in the back of my mind, if you fail one of the obstacles 3 times, potentially it could just take you off. So we get round, I finish it, I'm sitting on the floor shaking like this, and the guy comes up and said, Ross, why are you wet? I said, I fell off on the monkey bars into the ice. And he went, you had to do the monkey bars? I said, yeah, did you not have to do the monkey bars? He said, no, they were frozen and too slippy, so we just had to do push-ups instead. So again, I thought something was going to be different. Something came my way. I said, right, okay, I'll put my head around it. So that afternoon was the repeat of the endurance course. So again, took myself aside, just focused on what the outcome was for me. Get round, get my green lid. So needless to say, I went out, I completed the endurance course. I came in quicker again, 58 minutes. And just to put a stamp on it, make sure I was going to get my green lid. We did the 30 mile on Friday. I got my green lid. And that for me was what success looked like back then. That's what it was all about. All these things are really, really important to me. And you can't control what happens around you. What you can control is how you respond to it. So that for me was very important. Now, for me, today, my definition of success has changed. I'm not about this life as much. Okay? Still went to Norway this year with the Marines. Still go away. But it's more about my family now. It's more about the businesses I run. And me and the greatest positive impact on the most amount of people. That's what I'm about. So I want you to think about what's important to you. That's that question to ask you at the beginning. What does success look like for you? So there's 6 areas on the board there. This is kind of how I define when I work with clients and on myself. This is how I define what success looks like, or life. Divide it up into these 6 areas. Now, some of these might jump out at you straight away and go, well, those 3 there, they're really important to me. Now, maybe take a picture or you can get the slide after. But if you were to give yourself some scores right now, where would you sit on these? Where would you sit on health and fitness, mental health, maybe your family, your career, your wealth, yourself? Where would you sit on these? Let's have a little think about it. Again, you may have never asked yourself. And I had a conversation with myself about this a couple of years ago. So back to that definition of success. So thinking about what is your definition of success, okay? And the great thing about your definition of success is it's yours. It's nobody else's. And once you've defined it for yourself, you then can either argue or not the toss with anybody who questions it, because it's yours. Now, the great thing about owning it is yours. You can be empowered by that sense of definition of success. It gives you something to work on every day. It gives you something to move towards every day. And then when someone argues with you, it doesn't matter. They don't get it. That's fine. It's your definition of success. People talk to me about mine. I have a crazy idea that I want to return Doncaster Panthers basketball team to the #1 team in the country. People look at me and go, really? I go, yeah, they did it 40 years ago. That's my definition of success. Nobody else's. I want you to define what success looks like for you. I want to go away from it and go, right, what does it mean for me to be successful? Okay? The great thing about it is it will change. That is okay. Don't worry about it. Life gets in the way. Remember, it's not how we react, it's how we respond to these things that come along. And the second question was actually the first one. What does 1% of your day look like? So some of you may have already looked in the flyer and cheated and worked out what it is, or maybe got your calculator and worked out what it was. Okay? But imagine what you could do if on those scores that you gave yourself earlier, those 6 areas of your life, if you worked on one of those areas every day for just 1% of your day. Now maybe it's a conversation with your wife. Maybe it's a conversation with your kids. These are what I do. Maybe it's an upskill. Maybe it's a read a book. Maybe it's a learn a new language. Maybe it's learn a new skill. Okay? But whatever it is, it's yours. And what happens is you do it every day and it compounds over time to massive action. Okay? I worked at university and a lady said to me, if I got half my students just to work on their university course for 1% of their day for a year, that'd be a difference between a third and a 2-1. So imagine what you guys could achieve with 1% of your day. And guess where it starts? 14 minutes and 24 seconds. That is 1% of your day. So I ask you to leave here today, define success, find your 1%, and make stuff happen, guys. Thank you very much.